morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session on passion economy versus degree, rethinking higher education value. We have a fantastic set of panelists with us today who bring in very different and interesting perspectives, I hope, that I look forward to. And I'm looking forward to a very candid discussion, not just about challenges, but about what needs to change going forward. Right. So let me introduce the panel here. We have Dr. Annushree Bablani from IIIT Sri City. We have Dr. Ashutosh Mishra from IIT Delhi, and we have uh, sorry, and we have Professor Ashutosh Mishra from Indian Institute of Information Technology and Professor Deepak from IIT Delhi. Sorry about this. I actually mixed the two.
I was
Anyway,
earlier
but
at IIT Delhi, that's why I said maybe you
you
have
were
an
right.
older.
So well, I guess I was right in a way.
No worries.
So, welcome all of you to this interesting discussion. And we are at a really interesting intersection, at a really interesting inflection point, right? I mean, where passion economy sort of really being driven, where content is being created, where lots of other gig professionals are sort of coming around. So, I wanted to understand from, all of you, your perspectives on what are is the traditional studies rule, losing its relevance, or is it, where is it actually typically at this stage? Where is it, and what are the institutes doing? What is, how the professors approaching this? Is the curricula, accordingly built around it? So just, would like to hear all of you and your perspectives onto this very interesting topic for today. So I'll just leave it open to all of you here to take this up. So if I can request Professor Ashutosh to take this on and then, build on it.
All right. So thank you for having me. Good morning to everyone. I'm not entirely sure if I'm the right guy to ask the question, but anyway, let me take a crack at it. Now, here's my problem. I fundamentally have a problem with this term content creation, right? This is such an abused and such a vilified term now. I mean, to me, at least, definitely, it's this content. Everything, pretty much anything and everything goes now in the name of content creation, right? You have idiots on YouTube creating AI slop in the name of content creation. Why? Because all they care about are eyeballs and views, which is then monetized. Never mind the fact that they're essentially peddling garbage and more often than not fake news, right? I mean, literally fake news. Quoting Donald Trump, which is not exactly the high benchmark, but uh, fake news or fake content. But on the other side of the same coin of content creation is that it has enabled a lot of young kids, a lot of young individuals, and maybe not so young, some even uh, individuals who have post-retirement, they have found a way to share their creativity, share their knowledge, share their experience, and get monetized for that, right? So be able to generate a revenue stream. So yes, the content creation is certainly good if done with perspective, a perspective of intelligence and possibly some certain a bit of ethics as well. Creating content just for the sake of creating content so that you can grab eyeballs and make nickel and dime your viewers or Google for that matter. Fair enough. I mean, that's anybody's ball game. You and I can do it, right? But uh, to ask the fundamental question that you asked, the first question you asked was, uh, will gig economy or this passion economy give rise to a reduction in importance to the classical degrees? I don't think so. And I'll give you another classical anecdotal example regarding these GPTs like Claude and ChatGPT and Gemini. So the anecdote goes that I wrote this wonderful code and Claude refactored it beautifully. It looks beautiful. My code looks beautiful like anything. Nothing works, but it looks beautiful, right? So the point is, when you allow an agent to take your work or modify your work, or you allow an agent to generate a product based on your textual or verbal inputs or prompts, if you do not have a solid background in the domain where you're working, you will never be able to figure out whether the result, the product that you have in your hands, actually makes sense, actually works, and is legitimately correct or not. So I am a firm believer. I mean, of course, it is also a function of our age, I suppose, that classical education model and the classical education paradigm will never ever go out of style or even relevance. We may need to modulate it definitely with the change in times and the change in attention span of the evolving generations, the newer generations. Fair enough, I agree with that. But I don't think so that the classical education paradigm is ever going to go out of relevance. In fact, I would argue that given the over reliance on these tools, kids and even individuals, grown individuals, are losing their ability and their aptitude to, for example, perform quick calculations, mental arithmetic, perform logical deductions, right? And if you just look at it from a purely technical point of view, build algorithms, create logical designs on their own. They're losing that ability because it's like, remember when we were young and we were told, right, that brain is also like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. And that's exactly what is happening. I mean, we see this in I'm sure all of us in academia have seen this. We now, with the prevalence of these LLMs and chat GPTs and etc., even papers, simple project papers, simple term papers are being generated. You can see the lack of student participation and application of their minds because it is the path of least resistance. So I think maybe, let me get back on track. I think, well, to answer your question first, I don't think so that the classical degrees are going to go out of style. I do believe that these gig economies or passion economies are okay. Passion projects are okay, but they should only be done by people who genuinely have something of value to contribute to the society. Now, it could be technical, it could be non-technical, it could be cultural, it could be artistic, it doesn't matter. As long as what you are serving does not mislead or misinform your audience, I think I'm okay with that.
Great, thank you. So, taking a cue from what you've just said, so you're actually saying that higher education should then maybe look at acceleration, structured pathways that amplify passion with credibility, depth, network, scale, and XYZ, static qualifications which are built into platforms. Is that something that you think could be a way going forward towards enhancing the curriculum of the degree area?
Problem is with the word accelerate. The moment the word accelerate implies a higher possibility of slipping down the slope. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right now, there is no formal framework where we can decide, well, okay, let me answer this question in a slightly different manner. If I were to ask all our members over here to identify 100 content creators who have something legitimate to offer, fair enough? Odds are that we would have to sift through at least 10,000 each content creators to identify maybe 100 valuable or relevant or even useful content generators. Now, the problem is when you try to do that when you try to mainstream gig economy or passion projects or passion economies into the formal education paradigm, where do you draw the line? What are the guardrails? How are you going to set up the guardrails? And the reason for that is, who is to decide what is, okay, within the technology domain, for example, in computer science or physics or chemistry or biology or whatever, if I have somebody as a doctoral candidate who is, let's say, generating YouTube videos and he's talking about photonics or he's talking about plasma or he's talking about bioelectricity, fair enough. You can assess the quality in the content and say, okay, you need to stop this, or you can, please go ahead. We'll give you a better platform. But if somebody's talking about uh, Indian Railways without having any authority of talking about Indian Railways, right? And believe it or not, if you just go on YouTube and just search on Indian Railways, IR, you'll find more often than not, 99% of the content is not from official channels. It's from kids, literally with a phone, creating videos and with a drone and saying, oh, I have the latest breaking news about the latest Vande Bharat rolling stock. No, you don't. So what they are doing is, now, it could be argued, well, we are going to foster and we are going to encourage such creative development. But creativity, when channeled towards misinformation, can be extremely lethal. So I agree with you that we should, and we will eventually, we have already started doing it. We have started modulating our curriculum and our pedagogical paradigms to incorporate the shortening student attention span and their interest in creating their own content. Fair enough. But I'm not sure that accelerating it is required right now. Let us first figure out our framework in how we will incorporate this. Like, for example, do we assign credits, extra credit for creating a new content, right? Individual content. How are you going to, if we do that, then how are you going to grade that credit? How are you going to recognize that credit? Who's going to evaluate that content? So once we have that framework of formalizing this, then yeah, absolutely, we can definitely mainstream this into our curriculum. But I think it's a train, it's an oncoming train, it's a freight train that's coming. We have to get on board, or we'll get run over it. But what really scares me, and I'm telling you sincerely, what scares me is that we may end up, falling for the charm, for the snake oil phenomena. I think I'm sure you have all experienced this, right? Everywhere, the buzzword is AI and machine learning. Everywhere, everybody wants to do AI. Everybody wants to deploy AI, whether you need AI or not, right? Everybody wants. What is that? That's everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry and their dog trying to get on board the machine learning and deep learning and generative AI bandwagon. The problem is you cannot deploy Gen AI or deep learning or machine learning or learning machines as a broad example in every domain. Some domains are inherently deterministic. They do not need stochastic solutions. So again, the point is that we will have to take a call, our generation, because the younger, the next generation, they're already onto this bandwagon, and to quite a fair extent, maybe unfairly so. So we are with your NEP. I think we have figured out. The NEP says that you have to have multi-exit, multi-entry curriculum. You'll have to foster multidisciplinary approaches, holistic growth, and all those, again, those usual buzzwords which became popular in the 90s. Then they went out of fashion and then again came back into fashion, right? Holistic growth. What does that even mean, holistic growth? Right? But okay, it's very apolitical to question these terminologies, but that's okay. I think we will have to. So if we really want to be serious about holistic growth, we'll have to figure out that, okay, who is going to assess holistic growth? And whether the person assessing and evaluating the holistic growth themselves have a holistic perspective, right? So anyway, that's from my side.
Well, I think I just steer this through to Professor Jain to understand. Can institutions really convert passion-first learners into structured academics participants? Can institutions really convert the passion-first learners? We're talking about it, and like Dr. Mishra also just mentioned, but your point of view on that.
So I think we need to reinvent, and this is what we are doing at IIT Delhi. We have recently revised our curriculum. So see, AI, as Dr. Mishra mentioned, is reality. We cannot run away from it, and it's the part, like the social media. For example, if you want to be away from the phone, can you switch back to 2G phone? No. Everything, the ecosystem has built in such a way that you have to use 4G phone or 5G phone. So same is like that. So at IIT Delhi, we are trying to revise our curriculum in such a way that we try to introduce more and more practical things that will attract students to come to the classroom or the laboratory, because manufacturing cannot be done using AI, right? So we have to bring something on table in such a way that which students cannot find on online or using these AI softwares. And also, what I believe, it's a collective responsibility of everyone, the bureaucrats, ministries, judicial system, everything. We need to redefine the evaluation criteria, what is right, what is wrong, what is ethical, what is unethical. So it's a lot of work on the whole community, actually. So, for example, when my students write papers, so they are writing through ChatGPT. I can clearly feel it, right? Or all these softwares, which is very, very common. I remember in my days when I was doing my PhD, we used to spend hours on writing statements. No, this line, that line, this will give a better impression, this will give less impression, or something like that. So, and now we cannot judge someone from a abstract. Like, it may be like they have used this software, so our evaluation criteria will be different. Okay, let's try it through some other way. Maybe let's do a proper in-person interview. How much that candidate know? And now the writing skill will go down. It should not be one evaluation criteria, because it's no longer required. It's no longer a skill. It can be done by a machine for you. So those things, like same like coding. Okay. So I believe degrees need to be redefined, and content has to be revised in such a way that the students will find value. Something, for example, initially in the past days, like writing letter was a big deal. How do you write? How do you draft it, right? With the email, things change, but now you are sending hundreds of email every day. With AI, many things will become redundant. Like, it can be done using AI, so these are not important. There will be more difficult problems that we need to solve. So I believe degrees will take a next generation leap. We need to develop anti-AI softwares which can detect. Evaluation criteria has to be very much different. Yeah, this is what I'm thinking in this direction.
But then, our challenges will change, right? I mean, like you just said that AI will detect a lot of things and AI will do a lot of things. But then our challenges will also be different, right? I mean, what right now, like you said that, your time, you were reading, understanding, you were thinking, and, you were putting. But if an AI can do that conveniently for you and is able to put the right words, I'm sure embracing it would just be a natural progression, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
but if that has become a natural progression, then obviously the academia, the institutions, the curricula, everything will have to evolve. Accepting this new change, right? So I mean, and once we are seeing that there is this huge economy, which is a parallel economy, so to say, the passion economy, which has sort of taken up, I think it just becomes more relevant to have these skill tracks within the core curriculum. So do you think embedding these monetizable skill tracks within core curriculum, or credit link portfolio, or development could also be relevant in the way you're structuring your you know new curriculum that you're looking at or evolve?
Certainly, like obviously the courses will change. Like, short courses will be introduced to get new skills. That is true, and this happens actually. If you see in the past, from the last 100 years, things have changed. Especially these new courses have emerged to meet the demand of the economy, and I believe same will happen here as well. And we are working on that. We have executive programs, like we have executive programs on AI, machine learning, right? That is basically to train people, those who haven't studied AI during their bachelor's or master's, right? So that will happen, and that will keep happening. But I believe overall, the economy, degrees will have their own values. Some will learn
Right.
by degrees, some will learn by their passion, some will learn on their own. And this content creation will remain there. So we cannot stop, but yes, there will be a quality standard. And I believe those who are giving a quality content, they are already being identified using all these high reviews or high number of likes and all that. So if there are like hundreds of YouTubers, 10 who are the better, who gives the better content. So, but
Abs-
the beauty of this platform is that it gives an opportunity to everyone. That should be there.
Right.
There should be no barrier. And over a period of time, it will be self-decided, like who is doing a good job or an average job.
Okay. I'd like to also bring in Annushree, ma'am. I think, ma'am, your perspective and your thoughts, to towards this entire topic.
Yeah, so I agree with Professor Deepak also. So, these content creators or the passion economy, these people are there now as a parallel universe, as you were saying also, right? So, but the public also, they identify who is good, who is not good, right? And see, when a person is creating some content, and if it is coming, it is legit. Okay, they stay for a longer period in the market. You can see the statistics also, right? How many who are not legit stay in the market? They come as a trend and they go off. Okay, it's like a trend. Okay, so if you want to stay there and if you want to monetize your passion, okay, you have to keep growing, keep learning, and keep growing, keep learning is a part of education, right? That's what we learn. That's what is education. Education is not education doesn't mean that a structured way that okay, I have to follow some syllabus. This education means learning. Okay, I remember once, a very senior faculty told us when I joined the institute that we are teaching the students today not for their job which they are going to take the next. We are preparing them for any number of job which they can take till they turn 60 years old. So education is not about a trend, following a trend. Education is building up their mindset, building up their abilities, building up, learning the concept. Okay. Even, there sometimes it happens, as Professor Ashutosh was also saying, right? Brain is a muscle. You have to keep using it. Okay. So if you don't know how to use it, that's what the education system helps us in. Right. And yes, if you look at from the point, from 100 years until till now, initially in MITs and in Stanford and everywhere, mathematics was the degree which was given. Computer science evolved from mathematics. It became mathematics and computing. Then computer science became a separate branch. Now AI and ML are coming out of computer science, right? So evolution is happening. Evolution is It has been happening since the years. Okay, this is something we are talking about it now, but it has been happening from ages. We cannot stay if there is no evolution. Okay, the education cannot be stagnant. Education is improving. Previously, in the schools also, we were not using digital boards, right? If you see now in the schools everywhere, we are using digital boards, e-learning education system. In our institute also, we are using all the high tech, systems. And now with the occurrence of AI and everything, these things will also get adapted. Slowly, they will also become part of the system. And we have to educate our students to make the better and the right use of this AI or any tool in that sense. Okay, that's what I feel. That's what I have experienced. When computers came, I remember people used to say, right, and the people will lose their jobs. Okay, they gave more jobs rather than losing the job. And right, yesterday only I was saying somebody, see, when there were letters, there was a job of a postman. The postman used to deliver letters to each doorstep. Now, for letters are not there, emails are there. You are receiving all the mails. That is fine. But more than postmen, or more than the postmen which were hired by India Post, now Swiggy, Zomato, big basket, what not? Everybody is having a delivery agent. It's just the type of the job has changed, right? They are delivering the food to you. They are delivering your articles to you. The Amazon, every the type of job if you evolve, the type of job has changed, and then you have to, grow in that direction. So, talking about passion economy. See, passion, people who work towards their passion, and if you say that they don't need degree, those are very, very few. If you see the statistic, there's few exceptional people only that they don't need degree, and then they follow their passion and they monetize their passion and they become billionaires or millionaires. Okay. If you see our all the Indian entrepreneur, Swiggy, Zomato, Ola, Ather, everything has come from IIT Delhi, IIT Madras, IIT Bombay. Okay, so education is important, and the teachers and the faculty and the educators, they help students to mold their passion into the right direction. Already our government is working towards it, right? We have so many government schemes. They have incubator scheme. We have Tide, we have Nidhi, and all the IIT Madras has a big research. IIT Bombay has, IIT Delhi has, IIT, everywhere it is there. We also have a triple IT. So even the government is asking the institutes to prepare their students for the entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, that is what it's converting. Entrepreneurial mindset is what converting your idea that is your passion to the solution. Who is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is the one who sees the problem to solve it as a solution. That what is the solution I can offer to the society for that particular problem? That is an entrepreneur, right? And that's what if you have a passion to do something, I am seeing this passion economy in another way. I'm not seeing it in this way. I'm seeing it, if I have a passion to solve someone's problem, then I'm an entrepreneur, right? And that platform, if I give to my student, and that's what we are giving now. Government is having a lot of opportunities, giving a lot of opportunities, opening up the funding and so on. Even the institutes are welcoming the entrepreneurial mindset in their institute. Not only IITs, IIMs, design institutes. I don't know. Even if you want to see, you go to Banasthali Vidyapeeth, they have a startup hub. So all these institutes are having, everybody supporting startups in entrepreneurial mindset and thinking about and understanding and following your passion. Okay, but when you follow your passion, definitely you need a particular guidance. So that guidance comes from the education system. This is that formal structure. If you are following passion, also we need discipline. That discipline will come from this formal structure. You know very well, right? You are an example of that. You yourself are an example of that. So that formal structure, that formal discipline is required. Otherwise, people will definitely not take that risk if they don't have that support. And
Yeah.
I feel that, as faculty members, we all of us, the students look forward to us. So we should, motivate them. We should
Right.
encourage them. We should allow them to, bring up their passion and mix it with what they're learning today. If it is,
Yeah.
if it matches, right? And then
Right.
take
Right.
it up forward. And so
Sure.
that is my point of view.
So, I mean, of course, very different perspectives, but of course, underlining point being that, we have to accept what is there and build on it and work towards that. So, how can institutions maintain that academic rigor? Because as I understand that academics, of course, is integral to, whatever, whether be it entrepreneur, whether be it people who are who are trying to do things differently, whether from a gig economy, digital presence, content creation, all of that, right? So how can institutions maintain this academic rigor while adapting to flexible, passion-driven career models? So how can institutions actually evolve? I mean, if I can have all three of you comment on this, uh, uh, would be nice.
Yeah, so introducing some courses which can help students to understand how can see building up an mindset of converting the passion to the product is also very important. I have an
Right.
idea, right? I have passionate about something. I have that idea. How do I sell it? Okay, how do I make it, reachable to the audience? How can I adapt it to the requirement of the audience? That itself needs some training. Okay, so that we can introduce in our curricula. And especially we can also have we being an IT and technical institutes, we have that flexibility that can have courses where we have project, always we have projects. So we make our projects more driven to the product. Okay, that your project should be product driven. How would if you're building up, an AI agent, that AI agent should be able to deliver something which is required for the society. Okay, so something like that, if we introduce and change in small changes, not a huge change in the curricula, but with the small, minor changes, only we will be able to, if we build up from bottom to top, that will be more strong rather than
Right.
that's what I think. If we solely from the at faculty level, that course level, then come up to the the whole program level and so on. So that the one step we can take forward so that we can include students' passion into our
Right.
curriculum.
If I can bring in Professor Mishra here, and he can also enlighten us with his thoughts on this.
Like I said earlier, and I think my views were also echoed by the other gentleman, lady and the gentleman, the other colleagues. My point is this: see, what I am concerned about, what worries me is this. We all know. Do you remember when we were young? We were told the fundamental adage was, make sure you get your education in one go before you start earning. Now, why is that? That actually stems from the idea, and this is basically human nature, that once you start getting money in your pocket, the drive to learn takes a dive, right? And when I say learn, I mean learn in a classical sense. Fair enough. Now, let's say we start modulating our content, and we will have to do it. We will start modulating our content to be NEP aligned, and then consequently it'll be aligned with the uh, machine learning AI and its infusion into our curriculum. And that's okay. We are doing it. It's like a runaway train is coming at you no matter what. But the problem is, now let's say by the same token, we say that, okay, let's now foster this content creation, right? Now, what does that even mean? We'll say, okay, go on, kid, go ahead and do it. If you're passionate about something, go ahead, create a content. Now, what's the next logical step? The next logical step is, well, if he or she is going to create a content, he's going to upload it. And if he's really good about it, if they accidentally strike gold, right, they will start generating revenue. Now, it will come in drips. Right? 5 rupee here, 10 rupee here, 50 rupee there, we all know how it works. Now, then you're chasing likes. Then you're chasing subscriptions. Now, what that is doing is, and whether, I don't know, because I've seen this firsthand over here with a few students, now you see their focus shift. Now they are focused not on their curriculum and their academic growth. Now they are focused on their wallet growth. So yes, we should foster and we should encourage students to pursue their non-academic interests as well. Or we should provide them channels to showcase their creativity, technical or otherwise, in through non-conventional means. For example, YouTube videos or whatever, right? Content creation. Again, using the catch-all term, content creation. But again, I just want to add this. I want to add a word of caution that this motivation, this encouragement must be tempered with the awareness and the knowledge that it is a slippery slope. Because once individuals start creating, because let me just highlight this one point. Not all content, not all gig economy work is healthy. In fact, we are all aware, and I will not say the name, but there are gig economies which are extremely exploitative, and they pay out a lot of money. Okay. Now, it could be argued that, hey, what's wrong? They're making $1 million a year. But the problem is that is exploitative and it ruins your mindset as well. Now, the problem with one successful content creator is that there are 100,000 trying to emulate him or her. Now, when you're trying to emulate somebody, when you're trying to chase that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, chances are, one, if you don't have the technical background and the knowledge and the prowess, you are going to fall flat. Two, if you do succeed, then you are going to shift your attention from your academic growth to your commercial, your monetary growth. Not saying it is an entirely bad thing, but it has to be tempered with reality. So as teachers, as academicians, and as people within the academic framework, we have to be cognizant about this. We have to figure out, and again, there is no one solution for this. We have to sit back and realize that when we use the term encourage, right, passion economy, what does that mean? And what is the extent of encouragement? And what is the extent of facilitation of this? Because this really scares the lights out of me, because this is an extremely addictive device. Extremely addictive device. Companies like Facebook and Google have built their entire existence around the fact that they know that this is an extremely addictive device. I mean, there are studies that show you that this is clinically addictive, right? And you see this. You walk out, you will see policemen sitting on their cell phones watching YouTube videos. The problem is it is clinically addictive as well. So, and once you get into this wormhole, it's very, very hard to come out. Because, like, think about it. Okay, here's another anecdotal. I went to get a haircut about a month ago. A haircut. I am in Prayagraj, not exactly a tier A happening city, right? It's a city which is borderline rural, right? So the barber, the hair salon, using the word loosely, the kid is cutting my hair and he's live streaming this. He's live streaming. So I asked him, why are you doing this? He said, made followers. I have followers. Now, I am extremely hard pressed. I said, how many do you have? He said, I have 5. With 5 followers, he's probably making 10 paise a day, if that. And think with Google and all these platforms, they have a minimum count required, right, for any monetization. So I'm sure he's not generating anything. But what he is doing is he is pushing and pursuing that pot of gold, right? That pipe dream that one day I'm going to strike it rich. And one day, one of my hair designs is going to go nuts. It boggles my mind. The kid is illiterate, but because of the fact that we have extremely cheap data, and he knows that any video will find some audience. They're on it. They're at it. So to answer the question and get back to it again, we'll have to adapt to it. We will have to get on board. I think Professor Deepak also said this, right? IIT Delhi started doing it. We've started doing it, right? We've already started adding machine learning components to our curriculum. But this whole passion project, I think this country I think this is a little premature. And it is not a sustainable model. I don't believe it's a sustainable model. Because again, those numbers, for one successful YouTube creator or content creator, you have at least 100,000 who went and collapsed.
Yeah, but that also sort of helps, right? I mean, everybody sort of wants to try their hand at it. Whether they're successful or not is,
absolutely. But the problem is, it is such a wormhole that you get caught up in it to the point where you lose the ability to actually become gainfully employed anywhere else. That's my worry. That's my fear.
Yeah. So then we come back to that academics and the degrees are important, but yes, we should adapt to a flexible.
And for now, I don't think the academic system needs to worry too much about, fostering content creation. Trust me, students do that. They will do it on their own. In fact, I'm sure Dr. Annushree and Professor Deepak both will figure out. They would have seen cases or their students in the hostels actually doing coding for a fee. There are platforms where you can offer volunteer services for writing code for a fee, right? I have students over here. We found them. They themselves admit. So thanks to the IT revolution and the extremely cheap network connectivity, it doesn't matter whether you're inside the institution or whether you're sitting at home. Students will figure out a way to monetize their skills and to figure out how to get paid for their skills and their talent. My concern is, my worry is rather, is that if academic institutions, especially the tier one institutions, it doesn't matter, in fact, all institutions, if we start worrying about the fact that to stay relevant, we will have to incorporate content creation and foster this content creation in our ecosystem, I think they might be setting themselves up for a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, but then I'm sure there is, see, we have to also think from a next generation level, changes or, what is going to come, right? I mean, I think we'll have to be a little more future thinking and forward looking in a way that we understand today content, but maybe tomorrow
I
there is
think
something which
no, I think we
comes
know what's going
around.
to come. Geetika,
Right.
I think we know what is going to come, right? You've seen the news recently, right? Oracle just fired 6,000 people with a 6 a.m. email. We know what is going to happen. AI is going to disrupt. Machine learning agents are going to disrupt pretty much across the board, barring maybe manufacturing. I think even up to certain manufacturing jobs can also be automated using robots and an agent monitoring the functioning of the robots, right? So up to a certain extent, we know that medical diagnostics is going to get disrupted. I am myself working in that. We just finished a work on that, right? We know this. This is going to happen. It is going to disrupt global economy. We know that. But the problem is that nobody right now has a clear answer of, well, what's the way out? Remember, not all technology is for the benefit of the humanity. I mean, somebody could argue that social networks are a boon. I say they are the biggest curse on the humanity. Social networks, Facebook and Twitter, and if you remember MySpace and Orkut and all that, they have done more damage to the humanity than anything else. This is my opinion, and I'll tell you why. Because for the gain that they have offered, for the advantage that they have offered, the destructive effect they have had on the human intellect, the attention mind span, on the youth and their creativity and their level of engagement, their level of imagination, and their self-esteem issues and their body issues is at least 10 orders of magnitude higher than compared to any. So, like I said, all technology is not always for the good, and not all technology needs to be adopted. Sometimes technologies are only good from a proof of concept point of view, right? So
Okay,
maybe
let
not
me
all content needs to be created. Anyway, that's all from my side.
let
Yeah,
me get Professor Jain into
yeah.
this. Professor Jain, your thoughts
So,
on what?
yeah. So I would like to emphasize on two things. Dr. Mishra mentioned that thanks to all these IT companies, data is traveling at such a speed and reaching to everyone. But we need to keep in mind that this data is passing through optical fibers to the data centers. So data centers are used. So it's not only
Correct.
about the content, it's also about the hardware manufacturing. So this is where we need to emphasize a lot. So in our conventional education, for example, our students spend a lot of time in labs. They do hands-on experience, which this content creator will not be able to teach. And for example, for PhD, you cannot do an online PhD. That will have no value, right? So, and we need to emphasize a lot on research aspect if we have to be a global economy, because right now we are importing more than exporting, and this is a problem, right? Even we cannot have our own data centers, we cannot have our own chips in the mobile phones or wherever. We are importing everything. So this is where we need to emphasize. So what I believe with all this content that will remain a part of economy, let it be a part of economy, because this will open path for many, those who want to create their name or those who want to deliver and those who want to receive these informations, right? Those who don't have access to the regular education system, but regular education system will remain, it must remain, and it has its own value. And It cannot replace. And AI, as Dr. Mishra said, will disturb the economy. It will disturb the economy, but it doesn't mean economy will change. Like it may add 5%, 10%, or 15% in the economy. Economy is growing, right? So Indian or wherever the globally GDP is growing. So it will capture some part there. Some it will bring on its own, but other things in it will remain. Coal mine will remain. Energy will remain. Energy problem, we have seen that, right? So training would be required in that area. So I believe if I talk about green hydrogen, if I talk about data centers, if I talk about quantum technology, all this requires current state of the art hardware or even the futuristic hardware, of course. So
Yeah,
this is where we
but
can train our students in
yeah, but
semiconductors, right?
just
Yeah,
let me just add. That's again classical engineering, like classical knowledge. That's not everything that you just said, right? That again goes
right,
back to having the classical skill sets, right?
right.
Yeah, but yeah,
So AI would be a tool, and students must use it. Of course, why should we waste time? For example, calculators. At here at IIT Delhi, we allow calculators in exam, right? We do have open book exam. Students can bring their book. So maybe they will come where we'll allow that you come up with your laptop with AI. The problem level will be so harder that you'll be solving very difficult problems. So this is what I believe. So I welcome AI. I'm not worried. I would just say just to add one more example about joint entrance examination, one of the most toughest we have in our system. So the one of the way to prepare yourself for JEE is that don't look at the solution. I've spoken to many those who cleared JEE, like having 1 digit rank or 2 digit rank. So the best ones are like those who don't look at the solution. But in AI time, it would be very harder when the solution is just 2 buttons away. You copy paste, you'll get the solution. I spoke to Professor H.C. Verma once that why you never ever publish the solution of your book, Concepts of Physics. He said, because I want student to work hard on the problem. But now you can create the solution of whole book maybe in 1 month. So now the what will happen? The level of problem will be different. The way you think, then so we have to revise. I honestly believe all these exams will get revised in next 5, 10 years so that the student will be better trained. But future is better, I believe. I'm only concerned about the energy the data center AI will consume. So this is where we need to take care. Thank you. That's my comment. Thank you.
Yes, and let's hear Dr. Annushree also mentioning her point of view.
Yeah,
Dr.
so
Annushree?
it's we have more really more concerns, which need our attention. And like Professor Jen was saying, right? The energy is very basic. And AI, using AI, that will become definitely it will become part of like how, that's what I was saying, like how computer system is now a part. There is no office which doesn't have a computer system now. Like 50 years back, everything was on papers. Now everything is on computer. So maybe after some 10 years, because this going on exponentially, maybe within 10 years, everybody will be using AI tools. But yeah, so we have to educate, we have to make people, aware. Policies to be in place. Already government is working on it, making AI policy, how to use AI tools better. The aim of AI is to help us. Okay, its aim is not to replace us. That's what I always say in my AI class also. So, we are not, we are building a system to help a person. We are not building a system to replace a person. And it cannot replace a person. Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, it's a change. Change is part of life. Change has been happening from a long time. It will happen. We will adapt. The education systems will adapt. They have been, the basic structure remains. Till IIT Delhi rules might have been written some 100 years back, or 70 years back, but still they stay relevant. So the thinkers, visionaries of our country, I have thought about so many years forward. Okay, so now also, if we are adapting it, we will definitely adapt. It will be an appendix to the current system, and our constitution keeps changing, so it's just
Evolving.
evolving. Yeah, our constitution itself is a living document.
Right.
Academics is a living. Students are moving around. Faculty, we are researchers. We lead, and I don't, not even a single class in any institute, where faculty who reads a paper and then definitely tells about that to the student. So if we are getting updated and delivering that knowledge to our students, I think if a faculty, then then we are on the right track. Okay, so but only this, that's what faculty has to be prepared to deliver the right thing to the students so that the next future of our country is, safe. And one thing I always say to my student, use AI, but use AI responsibly and follow the ethics. And that the moral ethics which we, daily we see, daily we, as our parents say, it's good to, wish your elders, and it is good to, be polite. It is good to be honest. It is good to maybe like brush your teeth. Very simple. Because like that, we have to teach our students the very basics ethics of using AI tools also, right? How to use those, that as responsibility. And that is our responsibility as an educational system, as an academic institution, to make our student aware, be aware and make them aware. We cannot, uh, you know, turn around and say that, no, I will not use AI because, it is, because it might take away my job. But we have to face the challenge and find a way to how do we curb it up challenge. And that's what is my point of view.
Great. So lovely, lovely, lovely. So thank you so much. I think thank you everyone for such a rich and thought-provoking discussion. What clearly stands out is that passion economy is not replacing degrees. It's definitely redefining their value. Degrees are no longer just about knowledge or credentials. I think they need to become platforms for outcomes where learners can build skills, their credibility, and have real world impact. Institutions will obviously always remain relevant. Uh, um, I mean, relevant, and the degrees will always remain relevant as long as they adapt quickly, they integrate the industry and the passion-led pathways, and are able to focus on measurables for outcomes and for learners, right? So on that note, I think I'd like to thank all of you, all the panelists, for sharing your perspectives and for such an engaging conversation.